Hello, Richard Amoroso here from the Philadelphia Orchestra, coming to you from my home in Florida. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. Today we're going to talk about playing with feeling and talking about emoting when you're playing and how that is properly done. Before we get into that, please hit that subscribe button so you're the first to know when I release a video. So what is it that we're doing when we're playing with feeling or emoting? Essentially what we're trying to do is tell a story, and that's the story that the composer has written to us on that page. And if you're the composer, you're telling your own story. First, that starts with just understanding that you're playing with phrases, just the sort of technical idea of playing certain notes within a phrase, whether they're micro phrases or macro phrases, and that there's a line. That takes a certain amount of skill in and of itself, but making sure you're playing that consistent line and that consistent phrase and you're organizing it properly, that's your first step technically to making a phrase and telling a story. So out of these phrases come gestures. So take, for example, the slow movement from Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto. You can see the vibrato, the left hand is one gesture and the right hand is another gesture. Okay, and I do a glissando with the third finger. All these things are kind of emoting something sad. And sometimes, my expression might sort of come out of that and that feeling. And that's basically what it means to sort of have a certain emotion that I'm trying to sort of tell in that story. Conversely, if I were going to play something like the beginning of Mozart Violin Concerto, which is very joyful, the gestures are completely different. And you can see that these kinds of left hand vibrato and the right hand articulates with the staccato have a much different emotion that I'm conveying to the audience. So what comes out of that is that sort of trumpet call and that very sort of joyful announcement of a theme, which has something very different than, of course, that Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto. So as you can see, these are two extreme examples, and there's so much of a range in between those examples and different things that happen in a certain piece. And that's sort of the musician's sort of job to interpret when playing a piece. So given that every musician is an individual, you're definitely going to have different interpretations, and you're going to have a unique performance, which makes music that much more fun and wonderful to kind of sort of participate in. So you'll see musicians that are very minimalistic, that don't really do that much, yet can perform very broad range of music and very broad range of sort of emotion. Whereas there are other musicians that are very sort of overt and very sort of excited that can kind of do the same thing, but they're telling a story in their own way. Both are completely acceptable. It's just how that person decides to sort of tell that story. So to sum it up, it's basically making sure that you take what's on that page, let it go through you, into your head, seeing what's on there, and then it come out of your hands and gestures, from the phrasing to the sort of the large gestures to the sort of overall sort of presentation of that music. Let me know what you think. I'd love hearing from you and the comments below. And again, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We'll see you soon.